He says, yeah, the moose down there, you don't have to look. They're looking at you right through your window when you're driving a semi. Yeah. The police even tell you in that area there, after 8 o'clock, the moose own the road. They own the highway.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Welcome to Six Figure Trucker, the podcast where we share advice on how to be successful in trucking and have fun while doing so. We'll share stories, news, and advice on how to earn six figures in trucking, and we'll speak to guys and gals that are already doing so. Let's get to the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. This is a program here where we elevate and celebrate the truck drivers that move the freight to make this country and Canada go round and round. And joining us this morning on the Six Figure Trucker is Timothy Pedden. Timothy, how are you this morning?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, It's a Saturday morning when we're recording this episode. Just had a couple of cups of coffee, working on number 3. What about you? Have you had your coffee yet, Timothy?
Yeah, I got out of the rain here, and I just started on the first one, or whatever this fancy coffee they call it.
What kind of coffee you got?
Can't even pronounce it. Not something you find at the truck stop. It's one of those espresso shots.
Oh, okay. Went for something a little different this morning.
Yeah, and better than diesel fuel, that's for sure.
I got you. What's your typical cup of coffee to get your day started before you hop into a big truck?
Generally Love's or Flying J. They make good coffee.
All right. Do you take it black, or how do you take your coffee?
Just a little bit of milk in her.
I got you. Now, Timothy, we've been in contact over the last couple of days. Where are you now?
I'm in Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Okay, I've got a nephew that lives in Fredericksburg. Say hello to him.
Okay, how you doing? Okay. So far, a nice little town.
Gotcha. Now, when did you arrive in Fredericksburg, and how did you get there?
I just came down to Amtrak, and just got here about 25 minutes ago. Yeah, it looks like I missed the heavy rain, too.
Well, that's good. Yeah, so a big storm blew through here in the south last night, overnight, really big storm. Where are you headed from Fredericksburg?
Taking this truck up to Pennsylvania, and then from there, I got one I'm taking right across the country over to California.
Pennsylvania to California? So what kind of truck are you taking from Fredericksburg to Pennsylvania?
It's a Kenworth 380, and it's a tanker truck.
Oh, tanker truck. What's the weight on that guy?
It's over 33,000. Yeah.
Gotcha. Have you driven many tanker trucks in the past?
Oh, I've driven a few. I've worked on a few, too. Been an auto diesel mechanic all my life, and did a lot of marine mechanics also.
I was going to ask you about that because I saw on your email, it mentions auto something in the email there. So you've been a mechanic all your life?
Yeah, and I did some transporting younger and off and on. And I was pulling cars out of Arizona, Texas, up to Canada to sale, for sale, and doing 3-4 at a time on deck trucks. And,
okay.
So I've always been on the road, and got to figure out how to get my 1 million mile certificate, because I'm well over 1 million miles.
So how close to 1 million miles are you?
Oh, I'm well over that. I'm probably in total 2.5 million miles in professional driving, over 1 million, and then driving everything else under the sun.
I got you. Tell us about that 1 million mile certificate, how you get it and what it means.
You just basically apply to the government, Transport Canada, and, show them your logs and records and where you've been. And it's just like a milestone certificate for drivers.
I got you. I got you. Now, you mentioned Canada for you people, for the people listening to the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. Timothy mentioned Canada there, and we've got a lot of drivers that go into Canada, but Timothy has a distinction. He lives in Canada. Tell us a little bit about where you live, how long you've lived there, and what it's like living in Canada.
Well, I lived in Winnipeg, and then I lived outside Winnipeg, out in the country. That's where I had my automotive shop. Lots of room, lots of wildlife, and lots of hungry bears out there. But it's a little different when you walk 200 feet from your house to your shop with a rifle on your shoulder. They come in for dinner or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's nice there. It's Winnipeg's in the center of Canada.
Right.
It's nice country, lots of good fishing, good hunting, and really enjoyable.
Now you were talking about bear season. When do they start coming out of hibernation, and you start seeing them pop up around the countryside there?
Well, they start coming around in April. They're out already, and a bear will wake up in the wintertime and it'll wander around a little bit, but doesn't go too far from its burrow, and then they just go back to sleep for a while because there's no food for them, so they don't want to walk too far because that burns up their stored fat.
Gotcha. Now, you mentioned good fishing and good hunting there in Winnipeg, in the Winnipeg area, outside of the city, of course. What do you hunt for?
I've gone for, bears, deer, elk, grouse. I've done partridge hunting and goose, duck.
Now, what's Timothy Pedden's favorite thing to put on the plate?
Oh, it's hard to say. Grouse is really nice. Elk is a really nice meat, especially when they're feeding off the grain fields. The meat is really tender, Same with the deer. Bear's a little bit gristly. Yeah.
Yeah, no pun intended there. No pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when you are hunting, what's your preparation in Canada? Do you hunt in the winter as well? I mean, I would imagine so.
Not so much in the winter. There's not a lot to hunt in the winter. I mean, the elk are getting skinny, from running through the winter, so that their body mass isn't that good in the meat. Better off in the summertime and, catch them in the fall, eh? Same with the deer. They're getting pretty thin, through the winter, because our winters can be, you can get 7-8 feet of snow out there, and it takes a lot of work for them to survive.
I gotcha. So what is the season? What's the timeline season there for hunting for different types of game in Canada?
Yeah, it depends on the animal, and every province is different. Most of the hunting is summer and fall. There's if you can get a card to go in the spring, like if you wanted to go for moose, you get your tag and then you can do that. But the best hunting season for animals is in the fall.
I got you.
And fishing's year round. Ice fishing is great too up there.
I got you. Now, how far away? I mean, can you hunt close to your property there in Winnipeg?
Oh yeah, my property was outside the city, so I could hunt right on my back porch where I was.
I'm assuming you've done that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, they come right to your door.
Very nice.
Especially the bears. Yeah, they seem to like to knock the barbecue around and see what they can get off it. So, gone through a few barbecues with those guys.
I bet they probably clean house on the barbecue grill there.
Yeah, and if somebody drops their car off out in the country there and they've left food in it, well, the bear has a tendency to rip the doors off the car and have a meal.
Yeah, not a good idea to leave food in the car, particularly in the area of Canada.
Not out there.
Yeah, exactly, where you are.
Yeah.
What's your favorite game to hunt and why?
I like the elk because it's very rewarding, but it's a smart animal. It's got great senses, and it's a real challenge to catch up close to them.
What's your secret to getting up close to them? And kind of walk us through how you would approach a day of hunting for elk.
Well, your preparation is good. It's not just your gun, but, your survival kit. And you got to be dressed for the weather because the weather can change fast. As far as getting close to the elk, you got to use your terrain. Obviously, coming from downwind helps a lot because it changes what they can hear and what they can smell. So, but you can use the bush and use some hills and sneak up on the far side of the hill on them, and that's your best chance of getting one.
I guess
on an open prairie, you won't get within a mile of them. They'll hear you before you can hear.
I got you.
Or they'll smell you too. Yeah,
I got you. So you got to kind of lay back a little bit. Now, do you hunt by yourself or do you have buddies that go with you?
Well, around my own property, like I had a mile trail on my bush there, and I go a lot of times by myself. But you also got to watch out because we do have a odd cougar coming through, and those are very dangerous animals. They will start hunting you after a while.
Yeah, that's not a good ratio there. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Have you seen some cougars out in the wild there?
Yeah. I've had them sitting there watching TV in my house, and they're looking at me right outside the window.
Oh my!
And cougars are they're. But when I see a cougar around my place, I just take them out because they will hunt down children and that. And they're very dangerous.
What kind of gun do you use for cougars, elk, all the above? I've
been using a 308, and I also got a 300 Ultra Mag. I've tried different guns over the years. I also had a 45-70, which is good all the way up to elephants. Not sure you'll find those in North America too much, but when you're going for moose and that, that's a good gun to have.
I got you for the larger animals there.
Yeah. A moose is a very large animal, and you want to take them down with one shot.
What does a good elk weigh? A good elk for you? What's the weight on one?
Anything over 200, 250 would be good, and that's. You basically, when you're looking at them, you look, the girth of them, and it tells you how well they've been eating. The color of their coat. If the coat's mangy, they're not doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get a lot of meat off an animal that size. There's larger ones, but in that range, you're getting a younger animal that's got good meat to it.
Mm-hmm. Now, in Central West Canada, what's a moose go? I mean, weight wise.
Oh, moose have gone up to 1,500 pounds or more.
Wow, that's a large animal there.
Yeah, a trucker friend of mine, he was down in eastern Canada around Newfoundland and that. And he says, the moose down there, you don't have to look. They're looking at you right through your window when you're driving a semi. Yeah.
When you're driving a semi. That kind of puts it in perspective.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
you talked like a low boy Pete. Yeah, it'll be looking down on you.
That's kind of be intimidating, I guess. Even if you are in a truck.
Oh yes, yeah. Because they've taken out trucks, those animals. So they're that big and heavy.
Oh my!
Around north of Lake Superior, there around Nipigon, the police even tell you in that area there. After 8 o'clock, the moose own the road. They own the highway. So you got to watch out for them.
How many have you come across from the behind the steering wheel in a cab?
Oh, like going out to our cottages in Lake of the Woods area, northern Kenora there. Over the years, I've seen at least 20 on the highway.
Oh my goodness!
It's you got to really watch them because they're very unpredictable. They're almost like a deer. A deer will run right across the highway into the bush, and all of a sudden it'll run right out coming at you. It's just scared, eh? But a moose, he'll run into the bush, but he'll come out because he's mad, and he'll charge you. Yeah,
I got you. Now, what about the grouse? You said that's some of the better eating there. Where do you find them close to you?
They're not too far off, 15, 20 miles. In the bush where I am, there's a lot of berries for them there, so they're well fed in that.
Gotcha. You were saying that the hunting and the fishing is good. What kind of fish do you fish for?
I prefer the walleye the best. That's kind of like the filet mignon of fish. But we go for bass, smallmouth, largemouth. Muskie is that's a trophy fish.
Gotcha.
They're not very good eating, but they're a fighter. They call those the freshwater barracudas.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you do more ice fishing or conventional, or which one do you? How do you break it up?
Yeah. Well, spring to fall, like our family has an island out Lake of the Woods there, and so spring to fall I do the most fishing, and I've done a lot of ice fishing though, but just haven't had time lately. I'm trying to get my son into it. We winterize the cottage a little more, and I'll get him out there. And Lake of the Woods has got really good ice fishing.
How old is your son?
He's 14 now.
Is he getting into the fishing and the hunting?
Oh, fishing, yeah. He's got 5 tackle boxes and I got 1. So and all of the best lures always seem to gravitate over to his tackle box,
Yeah, I know how that works. Now, kind of take us down the path of ice fishing in Canada. Run us through what the preparation, what a day on the ice is like, and what your technique is for ice fishing.
Well, you generally go with a snowmobile. You got your ice auger. You can have a power one, but it's also good to have a manual one. And you set yourself up. Good survival kit. You really got to watch your weather, because even out on the ice, you can get a storm blow up and then you'll have zero visibility. And in that case, it's nice to have a little ice tent put up, and a little heater too. So you got to prepare just in case you're stuck out there for a day or two. And you let people know where you're going too. That's very important.
Gotcha. Have you ever been caught out there in a storm?
Yeah, further up in northern Manitoba, we were up doing what we call a polar bear run, where you'll go from Thompson to Churchill, and we did some ice fishing up there. But everybody's got to have a rifle, because when the bears come in, you got to warn them off or you got to take them down. Polar bears are a meat eater, and they'll go after people just like a cougar will. Yeah.
What's it like seeing a polar bear in person?
You want to have your gun loaded, and you want some distance. Yeah, they can run 30 miles an hour, and on that polar bear run, I was in the back of the trike, and everybody has a rifle. I had 2 handguns with me, and look over my shoulder, and here's a bear running flat out behind you. Well, you don't want to fall off that machine. You'll be lucky to get one shot into before he's on top of you. And those animals are well over 1,500 pounds, a lot of them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you talk about it. You talk about intimidating when they go up on their hind legs. That's something to see. Oh yeah, I got a friend of mine. He's a taxidermy shop, and he's got one in there. And the polar bear reach is 13 feet 4 inches when he's standing on his hinds. Oh,
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a massive animal, and they look at people just like a snack, just like they like seal meat and everything else. They're a hungry predator, that's for sure.
Now, when you're doing the ice fishing from a snowmobile, and you'd mentioned the ice tent in case weather pops up on you, what's your preferred method of accessing the water?
Well, just using an ice auger. Some guys like to use a chainsaw, cut a larger hole, but it's really not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a nice 6-8 inch ice auger, and you can punch nice holes into the ice, and you can pull out even larger lake trout, not 20 pounds or a bit larger, no problem. And the cold water, it makes the meat taste a little different. It's enjoyable.
I got it. What's on the end of your line when you're ice fishing?
I use minnows, bloodsuckers. I've used artificial lures, and then the small fish, we cut them up.
Gotcha.
You get the scent on the water, and that's what attracts them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, do you have better luck with the live bait versus the artificial lures?
I think it's about 50-50. It seems like sometimes all they bite is on the live lures, or the live bait, and sometimes we do really well with the lures.
Gotcha. Do you stay out for a couple of days, camp, and eat what you catch?
Oh yeah, we go ice fishing. We always have a shore lunch right there. We build a fire right beside an island somewhere, and cook up some food, and then we take fish home too. But it's I've gone out with different guys at different cottages. And we usually spend 3-4 days out. And we bring lots of fish home, too.
I got you. How invigorating is that?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
If
you like the outdoors at all, it really gets you going.
I got you. You're listening to Timothy Pedden here on the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport, telling us about life in Canada, out in the bush and beyond there. What's your favorite fish as far as on the plate?
The walleye is and second would be trout.
Okay, what kind of trout? Because I'm a fly fisherman myself, and mostly for trout. What's the best trout up there in your neck of the woods?
We get rainbow and lake trout. They're really nice. Some of the smaller streams in that, they get the brook trouts in them. They're nice to catch too. You being a fly fisherman, you probably enjoy those too.
Oh, brook trout are beautiful. Those are beautiful fish.
And you got to handle them. They got the soft jaw, so you got to handle them a little. Can't sink the lure on them too hard.
Yeah, you can't hook set too deep there on them. What do you fly fish as well?
I haven't for a while. When I was out in Alberta visiting friends, we went up on the side of the mountains there, and we were fly fishing. And one thing we forgot to do is bring the guns, because then you get the grizzly bears coming in. And without a gun, they take the fish.
Yeah, that's a one-way battle there. You're going to lose every time.
Oh yeah. There's no argument there. You just throw them the pouch and let them have it, and then you get go out for another day.
Well, let's shift gears back to trucking here. You're going up to Pennsylvania, I guess from Fredericksburg. Yeah. Is that's a one-day run?
Yeah, it's 300 miles. It's a short run.
I got you. What part of Pennsylvania?
I haven't been in that area. Maryville, I think it's called. Actually, you have to look on the GPS, because that area I haven't been into yet.
I got you.
Yeah.
And then once you drop in Pennsylvania, you're on your way to California.
Yeah, I pick another one up in Pennsylvania, and then I'm going to Santa Ana, California.
And like all drivers, you love those long runs.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. Driving in the States here also, it's beautiful country. It's one thing I hope all drivers would learn, is slow it down a little bit. Step back a bit. Like I like to keep a quarter mile ahead of me. And you can see what's going on with traffic. You got lots of room to get out of trouble, because you got that, space, and you can actually see the countryside better and enjoy it.
What's your average speed? What's your average speed on a long run? Let's say you're in a tractor. We'll talk about the one upcoming, Pennsylvania to California. Yeah. What do you like to keep it at?
I like to stay between 55 and 60. And I like to vary the speed a bit. Being the mechanic I am, new engines, I like to break them in. Even though they say you don't have to break them in, it does make a difference in the long run. And it's just a matter of bumping up your speed a mile or two and dropping it back. But at that speed, that gives you that room up front there. So, if there's trouble up ahead, you got lots of time to, stay away from it.
For you, in your mind, does it make that much difference in how much additional time it takes you just to slow it back?
No, not at all. Because you see the guys racing ahead of you and just flying in there and getting mixed up in the crowd. And when you pull into the Loves or the Flying J, well, guess who's there? They're just putting a lot more fuel in their tank.
It's slow and steady.
Yeah, like you're on a run from, coast to coast. You're talking literally maybe an hour and a half,
Not a big deal when you add it all up.
Yeah, and especially with the price of fuel, you save a lot more on your fuel. You can actually get into the, 7, 8, 9, 10 miles per gallon range.
Right, exactly. Speaking of the price of fuel, kind of give us a sense of where it is here, late March, heading into April, as far as the difference between the price of fuel in the States versus Canada.
Canada's prices are higher. Pretty well we're across Canada. It's maybe about $1 more, comparing it, changing it from liters to U.S. gallons, as your 3.8 gallons. Mm-hmm. It's about $1.20 a gallon higher in Canada.
I got you.
And that's factoring in also the price of the dollar.
I got you. Working the conversion there. Now, do you do most of your driving in the States or in Canada, or a mixture of the two?
Well, before I was mostly in Canada, going coast to coast, and I was doing custom hauling, big cabin cruisers, oversized loads over length. And I was doing some runs from Indiana to Western Canada with travel trailers. And then after the COVID, and I started with Norton, I'm doing 90% of my driving in the States, and the roads are a lot smoother and better condition. You guys have an excellent interstate system, And it's, honestly, the driver support down here is really nice. Just the fuel stops and the clean restaurants and showers. It makes a difference.
Gotcha. How would you compare the quality of roads between, you'd mentioned that the roads in the States are in better shape than in Canada. How rough are the roads in Canada, generally speaking?
It's basically sections. Like, being from Manitoba, we've put a lot of money lately into our, Trans-Canada Highway in that province, so it's improved a lot. But these roads in the interstate system in the States are, 3-4 times better than what we have up Canada. There's some provinces like the Northern Ontario run, it's 2 lanes for, 1,000 miles. A lot of guys just don't like driving it. And when it comes to winter driving, you're better off staying in the States and do as much driving you can down here. Your infrastructure takes care of your roads, and even road service like winter snowplows.
Right.
It's done far better here. I love the country up in Canada, but we need help. Some of our provinces like Alberta have good roads. BC's getting a lot. They put a lot of money in their highways, but you're not going to find the big interstates. Up there is to get a 4-lane highway is nice.
I got you. Now, you were saying you do more of your driving in the States than you do in Canada. And I've looked at your load plans before, and being based in Winnipeg, your load plans are different than a lot of other drivers. How do you attack that as far as give us, I guess, the game plan for Timothy Pedden for a week? Let's say we know what you're doing next week, but the week after, how do you plan your loads? Because it's definitely different for you for the travel in between.
Yeah. Well, I like to get a load from Canada coming down to the States. I love my flying, but I'd rather be turning the wheels. So I plan for a load from Canada down to the States, and then looking for longer loads that'll take me back up into the Canada area, and get me closer to home, and then fly home. Winnipeg is nice that it's, geographically centered in Canada and based in the States, but you just don't get as many loads coming out of there. So trying to get the long miles and then get home.
And what's it like for you as far as, you were talking about getting back to Canada. Ultimately, you got to get back to Winnipeg as far as, I would assume you're a pretty frequent flyer in Canada. Yeah. And a lot of that's because of the COVID and that. I mean, from Winnipeg, we were getting flights 3 times a day to Chicago, Minneapolis, and there's none right now. Absolutely none. So you're flying east to Toronto and then going from there, or going west to Calgary or even Vancouver to the West Coast, to get a connection going into the States. I gotcha. What's a typical fare? Let's say you're going Winnipeg to Toronto. What's that usually run?
Oh, the airfare can be, sometimes reasonable, $300-400, and then there's other times like spring break in Ontario 2 weeks ago, and flights were going from $1,000 to $4,000 one way. Yeah.
I no pun intended, but I guess that can ground you somewhat as far as when they're that high, it's just not worth it.
Well, I spent my last run. I spent two days in Toronto at the airport waiting for a decent flight to get home. I told them I don't want to buy the plane. I just want to, get a ride in one.
Right.
But yeah, it's challenging right now. But we also don't have our bus system that like Greyhound doesn't run in Canada anymore. So it's even nice to get on a bus and take a ride home that way. Relax and enjoy it, or even the train via rail. But they're pretty pricey compared to Amtrak.
I got you. Now you took Amtrak down from was it New Jersey?
Yeah, I ran down from. I flew from Toronto this run to Newark, and then I took the Amtrak down to here, and so I just got to jump an Uber and get over to the shop, pick up the vehicle. But you have the connections here that are a lot easier. In Canada, it's tougher to connect to a lot of these places.
Mm-hmm.
Uber just hasn't come on, and a lot of the the shops, they don't offer, like I say, the bus, the trains, and everything else. So you really got to plan your routes up there and how to get to them.
I got you. Now, obviously, you got a weekend pickup, and does that factor into your load plans?
Yeah, I got two good loads. The short one and the long one to California. Then I got another one from California coming out and heading more towards the center, or you can get back up into Canada with. So yeah, it's kind of feel like they'll be home by next weekend.
I got you. Now, the one from Pennsylvania. What kind of truck are you taking from Pennsylvania to California?
That one is a Kenworth 380 tank truck.
Okay. And the one you're taking from Fredericksburg up is also a tanker?
That's a Freightliner M2 series.
Okay, M2, I got you.
They nickname it the business class truck, the Class 7 truck.
I got you. Now, what's your favorite truck to drive as far as, let's say you're Pennsylvania to California. If Timothy Pedden could pick the truck that he's going to make a cross-country run in, what would it be?
The Kenworths, I really like those trucks, the Peterbilts. And driven a couple of actually internationals. They were making these trucks a lot more comfortable, a lot better ride. I've taken a couple of Kenworth T88 series. One was a deck truck with a crane on the back. She was a solid truck. And then I just brought a custom box truck it was for spreading soil and seeding.
Mm-hmm.
I took that one out of just south of Oregon. I took that all the way to Pickering, Ontario.
Oh wow! Now crossing the border, is it easier to go from the States to Canada or from the Canada to the States, or is it really about the same?
It's both ways is a lot more efficient. And the biggest thing about crossing the border is have your paperwork in order and just be respectful. You're going to give them a hard time. They're going to turn it right back on you. I find coming into the States, I rarely had an issue unless it was a paperwork problem or, just maybe a serial number off, but they're really good that way. They help you out. And going into Canada has been pretty good too.
Okay.
You'll always get somebody that's not too happy to be at work. So
I got you. But I mean, basically Timothy's rule of thumb is you get what you give.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, on the borders, as far as for some of the drivers who may be listening, as far as crossing the borders, are they different times as far as some are open later than others, some are open 24 hours? Is that something that you try to plan?
Most of the major truck crossings are 24 hours now. All the large crossings are 24 hours. I haven't run into one. It's just if you're going, in between the major interstates and that, you'll find some, small crossings you can take, and those will have hour limits on them. You pretty well got to look on their website to find out, but any major city you're crossing with is a 24-hour border.
Now, Niagara Falls, that one is 8 to 3, is that right? Monday through Friday?
No, it was 24 hours last time I went through there.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
It used to be restricted hours, but...
Is there a port that's tougher than another to cross?
The Ambassador Bridge is, if you're taking, heavy loads in there, it can be challenging sometimes driving through there and navigating. And they're not doing anything more with that one. They're planning on building a brand new bridge still coming up to replace that Ambassador Bridge. It's getting pretty old.
Okay.
But, yeah, I haven't run into one that was frustrating at all.
I got you. Now, a common question we ask here on the Six Figure Trucker of the drivers that are employed by Norton Transport is, what are some of the most breathtaking things you've seen on the road?
Oh, that's a tough one because there's a lot out there. I was driving down the Continental Divide there, and you got to watch out for the ice, but the scenery is just amazing. It's going down from Alberta down to Vegas. that was a nice run. And anytime you go through the mountains, I really enjoy that. You got to be on your toes about it, but it is an amazing scenery. Yeah.
Now, how long have you been driving? You'd mentioned your past as a mechanic there, but how long have you actually been behind the wheel?
I off and on about 6 years, and then even when I was running my shop, I would do the long hauls like the cabin cruisers and that. It was kind of like part-time, or when I'm hauling vehicles from my shop to sell. So it's been off and on, but like I say, that I've accumulated over a million miles of just professional driving, but it's been over a longer period because running the business and that.
Okay. Now, has it helped you as far as gaining experience in Canada on rougher roads in the winter driving? Has that helped you driving in the States as far as conditions you may run into?
It does, because the conditions can get over most of the states, because your roads are much better, and you guys are out there faster plowing them. In Canada, you can, be driving and wondering where the road is, in some of these storms. And so it gives you some skill sets to, handle that. There's times where you're going down the Trans-Canada and you're plowing snow with the front bumper, So, it's a challenge.
I was going to say, how do you approach that winter driving? I mean, like you just stated there, plowing snow with your front bumper. How do you approach that and overcome it?
You got to really slow it up. Put your four ways on. Make sure your headlights are on. You take your time. It gets to a point you got to feel the truck too. If you feel your front tires losing grip, or if the back tires feel like they're gonna spin out, you got to adjust everything, even your RPM and that. Yes, you don't want to be in high RPMs and have those back tires or tandems let loose on you, because that's a lot of weight that's going into any direction but not where you want it to go.
Yeah, too many RPMs. When it's too late, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it gets you in trouble real fast. Some drivers like to drive right at the almost the rev limit, so that if they do lose the traction, they don't have a long way to go to over rev, which they say helps. I haven't had that experience, but you got to feel the road, feel your truck, and there's a point where you got to say enough's enough and get off the road. Just find a safe place and sit out and wait for the plow trucks and the sanders to come.
Wait out the storm. I gotcha. Good advice from Timothy Pedden here on the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. Now, Timothy, how long have you been doing Driveaway?
Driveaway, I just actually picked that up with you guys and on Norton Transport. I'm enjoying it, and I'm looking to get into doing some decking too. And it's basically Driveaway. I started with you guys doing that, and everything else was hauling.
Now, when did you start with us?
9 months ago now.
Okay.
I think up to 10 months.
I got you. What's that 10 months been like?
Challenging, doing your planning. The biggest thing is trying to, plan the loads, so you get more, behind the wheel time compared to, sitting on the big silver bird from Greyhound or in the air. Yeah.
I got you.
But planning your trips is that's what I find challenging, is make it more efficient.
And let's talk a little bit about your relationship and interaction with your dispatchers. You're on Dalen's team, is that right?
Dalen and Stephanie, that's right, yeah.
And I think it was Latricia that helped you set up your last load. And how important is it, for your set of circumstances coming in and out of Canada, does that require more increased communication, and how do you navigate that?
Yeah. The biggest thing coming out of Canada is you want to make sure you got your bill of lading and your manifest set up, so you have it as soon as you get going, and then you don't have to worry about it, and you have it printed at the border, because a lot of the officers now don't like it when you just show it to them on the phone.
Okay.
They want to have something they can stamp,
So you still work with a hard copy?
Yeah. It's just, I've had, I was coming out of BC there, and the officer said, you know what, you make sure you have a hard copy next time for me, because I'm not going to accept it. Yeah, and you run into it. I don't know if that's the policy there, but it makes sense, because, you like to have that stamp, to send into the office,
Yeah,
and it finishes off your paperwork right.
gives you some validation there. What's the typical time that it takes to cross the border from Canada to the States, as far as when you're at the actual point of crossing?
Most of the time, it's 10, 15 minutes, maybe. We had one run there, but it was we got delayed a couple hours because it was actually, the paperwork was wrong from, I don't know if it was from the trucking company itself, or, but the manifest didn't match, the numbers. So that was a couple hour delay there to get that straightened out.
Does it take longer coming from the States to cross into Canada, or Canada to the States, as far as the amount of time it takes, or is it pretty equal?
Now it's a lot better. It used to be tough with Canada. They basically had a different attitude towards it, but now it's pretty good. 99% of the time, I'd say, the U.S. Customs and Canada customers they're excellent.
Fantastic. I'm assuming, I don't want to make too much of an assumption, but you're born and raised in Canada?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Winnipeg, but I always had to get out of the city, spending half my life on the boats around the cottage.
You prefer the country life?
Yes. Yeah, I can jump right back there with the bears and have a battle with them again, not a problem.
I got you. Now, how old are you, Timothy? About 60, is that right?
Yeah, 62 now. Yeah.
62. 62 years in Canada, and you've spent quite a bit of time in the States. How would you compare the two as far as culture, lifestyle, that kind of thing?
In some ways, you have different cultures and lifestyle. I find every state, I want to visit every state. That's my goal. But I find they're very friendly people, very helpful, I really enjoy that. They get good personality, and it makes a difference, too, when you're driving. It's similar to Canada. There's some places in Canada people got an attitude and they just don't want to be bothered with you. But I really enjoy driving in the States, and I love the American people and their attitude. It's great.
Where have you found the friendliest people in the States? What part of the country have you found the friendliest people?
Well, there's a lot of places I've only visited once or twice. I've never run into anybody that, I just couldn't agree with or couldn't accept them. There's a few the attitude in New York there. They were, you ask them for, the time of day and you forget it. They can't be bothered. But overall, I've been very pleasant. I find Texas very friendly. Arizona, Montana is great. Down here in Virginia, very friendly people. Some of the bigger cities, yeah.
It's kind of known here in the States, people from the Southern hospitality. Have you been able to experience some of that when you've been making loads down south? Yeah, I really enjoy that too. I haven't been into Louisiana or anything like that. I'd like to go, and I know my son's picking all the spots that I'm supposed to be taking him in the future. And he looks at some of the pictures and he looks at the lakes down here, and he wants to come fishing down here with me. Well, Louisiana is known. I think they call it a sportsman's paradise. The fishing's outstanding in Louisiana.
Yeah, but Texas too. He wants to go to Texas and Arizona, and he's been to California, and Florida's on his bucket list. But he's kind of like me. All 50 states I want to visit.
How many more do you have on your list to check off?
Oh, I'd say about 25.
So you've been to about half of the states. And any particular state that resonates with you as a favorite?
I'd say Texas, Arizona, Florida. I like a lot of them, everyone for different reasons, like Montana. That reminds me of me being back in the country, but even going through Wyoming there, I sure enjoyed that. I just actually met a couple people on train here. They're from Alaska.
Okay.
And I'm going to be heading to Alaska now.
I gotcha. Now, have you thought about vacationing in one of those states? I mean, or have you done that already?
I've done a few of them, but I want to vacation in a lot of the states. I told my son that was, I like to hit every state in the U.S. and take him across Canada. And he's been looking at those hunting shows like Meat Eater and that, the wilderness shows, and he wants to go up to Alaska and the Yukon too. So.
Gotcha. Now, we've talked a little bit about weather, but take us back to Winnipeg. What's the coldest temperature you will see during the winter months, and how warm will it get during the summer?
Summer is usually in Fahrenheit around 70s, 80s. It's really nice. We've had the odd day where it's over 100 degrees. And wintertime, well, quite 30 below is not uncommon. 40 below, we've had that for, sometimes 2 weeks on end. And we've had it colder than that. So that's when it gets dangerous.
You just stay inside?
Well, as being a mechanic, the more colder it gets, the more time I spend outside, trying to get the car started. But it was more just hooking a chain to them and dragging them in the shop, let them thaw out, and then try to get them started that way.
How big is your shop?
It was 4,000 square feet. It had 4 hoists in it.
Okay.
I could put 12 cars in it. Yeah.
Now, do you work primarily on cars, or do you work on diesel engines too?
Yeah, I did quite a bit of diesels and that, and I wanted to downsize from it. So on the new shop, I put 12-foot doors on it. So that didn't make too many truckers happy.
Yeah, that'd be cutting it close on some of them.
Oh, yeah, just servicing the automotive and the marine end of things. I mean, that was over 480,000 tools and equipment, and it's not enough.
Oh, my goodness. What's the most challenging car to work on, or truck? What's the most challenging?
Well, like you say, the big trucks I cut back a bit, but some of the Cummins engines were a bit of a challenge, when you're overhauling them. But I kind of stepped away from that because we don't have a good machine shop in Winnipeg anymore. You're sending everything out nowadays. And cars, challenging-wise, some of the Toyotas are electrical. Some of the European cars, the BMWs, the Mercedes, they can be a real challenge. And they're just built stubborn, those ones.
I gotcha. Do you have to, I'm assuming on the mechanical side, you got to stay up to date on all these advancements in the
well, the mechanical side, I've cut that back on that quite a bit. I have sold the shop, and I just want to stay in it just to sell vehicles a little bit. I'm not going to be a mechanic full time anymore. I'm going to be concentrating on the trucking, and then when I'm home, fix a few cars and sell them. But the trucking is going to be the main source of income for me.
That's going to be the breadwinner for you. 62 years young for Timothy Pedden, and you mentioned you want to get into the decking. How soon do you want to do that?
Well, I just in Manitoba, they changed it. You got to, even though I've driven semis over the years under the farm permits, hauling grain and that, you got to go through this MELT program. It's a mandatory entry level program, and it's like $15,000. So. But probably within the next 2 months, I'm going to do the course. It's a couple weeks. And then I'll have the Class A, Class 1 with a multi-trailer endorsement.
Gotcha. I guess in your mind, you've already determined that it's worth the $15,000 for the payoff?
Yeah, it is. Because it opens up a lot more for you, doing the piggybacks and that. And it actually, there's more loads that way going into Canada than anything else, too. So.
Yeah, exactly. How common is the decking internally in Canada? Is that a practice they use quite a bit?
Not so much just in Canada. It's everything coming into Canada. There's a rare decking loads going coast to coast, but not a lot. Like, all the trucks are built in the United States, Freightliner, Mexico. And the decking's more northerly than coming south.
I got you.
And going east to west there's not that much there, but there's still singles and that.
Any used truck decking going on in Canada?
Not that I've seen. There's a few, but those are random loads. When I talk to the guys doing it, they're usually just a single going here and there.
I got you.
Yeah.
Now, what about mixers? I know we've got contracts with a few companies that send mixers into Canada. Have you ever driven any of those up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've taken 3 now to Texas, 1 to California, 1 to Oregon. I had that one going from Olds, Alberta, was going to go to Hollywood, Florida, but there was a new mixer on an old Peterbilt. Yeah, had over $1 million on it, and it never had an in-frame, so I was amazed I made it all the way to Georgia. Yeah, but she was an old truck, and she didn't have a lot of tender miles, that's for sure.
How much does it help you? I mean, obviously, it would be nice for more of the drivers to have the mechanical background that you do. I mean, how much does it help you as far as prevention from breakdowns, particularly when it comes to minor issues?
Yeah, it helps because a big thing with the trucks I find is when you're doing your inspection and you just look down on those brakes and the adjusters are way out, but having auto slack adjusters, which is that's all they have nowadays, you can actually set those up on the road. It's a way you call it doing a 6-pack where you pump the air up and you hammer on the brake 3 times and you can get them back into, shape where you got a 90 degree on your lever arm. So you're back in, spec. I had one there that, it was a little bit out and I was going through an inspection at the border there. And the guy says, well, you got one adjuster out. And I said, well, just give me a minute with that one. And I got it back in shape and he was happy. So away we went. Yeah.
That's fantastic to have that kind of knowledge to make a quick fix right there on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few other things. I had belt tensioner, serpentine belt tensioner. Sometimes they stick and, it's slipping on the belt. Well, you're just using a pry bar and, extending it and retracting it a couple times and gets it back, get back into shape and keep the tension on the belt.
Gotcha.
And there's a few airline issues that I've run into on the roads, different vehicles. Yeah.
You're listening to Timothy Pedden sharing some of his knowledge and wisdom on the road here in the States and also in Canada. Now, Timothy's 62 years young. How long do you see yourself doing this in the industry?
Maybe retire by the time I'm 80.
So you must love it.
I enjoy it, and I really love driving, out in the country. I'm a highway driver in cities. Those are for, going for dinner, as far as I'm concerned. You get me on the highway, and I'm good.
There you go. At Timothy Pedden. Get me on the highway, and he is good. Thank you so much, Timothy, for joining us here on the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. Last question's not really a question. Just want to leave it open to you as far as what your advice or counsel might be to someone who's considering this as a career.
Oh, I tell them to look into it seriously because, you know what, there's a lot of potential as a career-wise. And, if it gives you a good balance, too, with, home time. I could spend almost half the month at home and the other half on the road, and it balances out really well.
All right.
So it's nice to, pick your loads and go when you want to go. And, it sure makes my son happy because after this run, he's going to be giving me a little bit of static.
You're going to be away for a while after this run.
Yeah, but the boats aren't in the water yet, so that's a good point. So he's not missing any fishing giant.
Gotcha. Well, Timothy Pedden, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck and be safe out there on the road.
Thank you. You take care.
Six Figure Trucker is brought to you by Norton Transport. Norton Transport is a drive-away trucking company that customers can rely on. It offers excellent independent contract driving opportunities to professional, courteous, and qualified drivers that can provide the kind of service we deliver. If you're interested in learning more about Norton or just want to subscribe to the show, check out 6-figuretrucker.com. That's 6-figuretrucker.com.